Welcome to the Clean Mentality Podcast, where we focus solely on what you can do daily to make your life easy, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I am your host, Easton Dukevich. Now let's get after it. So today has been day 7 of 75 hard. As you may notice, I am wearing a suit. There's a reason for that. The reason is, and the flag's behind me, the reason is that personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. That is not my saying. That's Andy Frisella's. Andy Frisella is someone I've been watching on Real AF, the podcast, for the last 4 years now, since 2020, when I was in fall semester college graduating. I found him. And from there, I really have just tried to become more personally excellent since then. Then I found First Form. Then I've kind of gone on this path since that time. So what I want to talk about today is this flag. What this flag means. It's not a joke. It's not to be stepped on. It's not to be burned. It's not to be disgraced. It doesn't mean that it's the government's flag. It means it's our flag. It is our flag. We, growing up, at least for some of you that are my generation, 1997, 2000, we did the Pledge of Allegiance. That's what we were taught in school. The reason that was taught to us is because it meant something to the people. This is the people's flag. This is no one else's flag but ours. And I'm going to start every episode. Every single episode is going to have this flag in the background. I'm going to be dressed to impress, to the top. Reason being is that it's we the people. We the people created the Constitution. I rose a hand and pledged my allegiance to the Constitution of the United States to defend and protect against foreign and domestic enemies, foreign and domestic. Why do you think they say domestic? Because there's a possibility that it's happened before. Civil wars are a real thing. It's happened before. Okay, so without going off on more of a political tangent, the people we choose, what's a first impression to you? Definition from Wikipedia says an event where one person first encounters someone and forms a mental image of them. Experts say that it's between 5 to 15 seconds for someone to form an first impression of you. 5 to 15 seconds. And I know if I'm going to like you or not. What are first impressions? What do they consist of? First thing is, in that 5 to 15 seconds, physical characteristics. If your clothing is suave, you're going to be thought as better than someone with ragged clothing. So what I'm wearing right now, you're thinking, I am a better person than someone that doesn't have this kind of clothing. It's not a true thing. Though this is what you're thinking when you have first impressions, naturally, 5 to 15 seconds. If you're muscular, fat, or skinny, that's another thing they look for. You look for automatically. And physiological characteristics. If you're long-haired, you may seem laid back compared to a short-haired person. Might be more uptight, like me, maybe. Your face, your facial emotions. Are they strong? They might give off a bad vibe. You know, we've all heard of resting bitch face, RBF. That's an example. So the 4 facial cues that form a first impression are baby-facedness. Yeah, that's a word, baby-facedness. We judge based on facial symmetry to see the genetic diversity and the immune system to fight diseases. I'll say it again. We judge based on facial symmetry to see the genetic diversity and the immune system to fight diseases. So we literally, naturally, primitively, in 5 to 15 seconds, judge your facial symmetry, your genetic diversity, and your immune system being able to fight diseases. That's interesting to me. Baby facedness, you know what that means? Like clear face, really clear. Familiarity is the next one. That's the next facial cue. If we look like someone we know, or we generally will be more inclined to want to meet them. If you look like an actor, you look like someone from our family, that sort of thing, a friend of ours. Fitness. Here we go, fellas. Healthy people look attractive, and we would want them as friends, naturally. Naturally, without even knowing them, 5 to 15 seconds. Unhealthy people look unattractive, and we will keep our distance. Now, the caveat on that is if you're an unhealthy person, you tend to keep unhealthy friends too. That's the natural order of things. So, if I'm a healthy person, more than likely, if you're unhealthy, I'm going to keep distance from you. The caveat on that part is that me as a up-and-coming fitness professional, health, wellness, helping, I'm a person that my goal is this: passively leading others to become their best by being my best and leading by example and them taking notice. So I am going to look for anyone that's willing to put in the work to become a healthy person. So I might look for unhealthy people for that reason. Emotional resemblance is the fourth emotional cue. We tend to read how people react to us to resemble ourselves or others we know. Like reactions, okay? So like Jim Carrey does probably the best reactions on anybody, but if someone acts like Jim Carrey, then that's emotional resemblance to that, or if they act like you. So you know what I mean? So here's the actions you can have to have a better first impression, okay? Because a lot of people have really, really shitty first impressions, bad first impressions. For the people that don't like swearing, I will acknowledge and say something else, like bad first impressions. Here's the things that you can do, actions you can take to have a good first impression. Your wardrobe. In this case, you're not going to wear a suit every day. That's the reality. You should have one suit if you're a man. You should have a dress if you're a woman. You should wear clothes that are appealing and not wear clothes that match. Wear clothes that look good, that you've taken care of. If you let it go to rags, or if you let holes, if you wear clothes around that have holes in it, or just are old and raggedy, like you know what they are. If you can't afford new clothes, I understand where you're at, but take care of what you have. If you don't take care of what you have, it's not worth having. And it's disrespect to yourself. Your fitness, again, 100%. If you walk into a room and you are the most muscular out of everyone in that room, they're going to notice that. It's law of attraction. It shows your self-discipline. It shows your mental toughness that you are that strong to be able to do those things that it takes to maintain that body, because people think that, oh, it's genetics. It's not genetics. I'm refraining from swearing right there, but it's just not genetics. It's the fact that it takes some sort of self-discipline and mental toughness every single day consistently to develop a strong muscular figure as a man or a woman. Education, reading, and podcasts. When I say education, I don't mean college. Is college helpful? Depending on your career field, yes. Is it a go-to for everybody? No. If you're an architect, good path. If you're an engineer, makes sense. If you're trying to think of other ones, but those two are the things that I think of. You can do pretty much anything by just getting into it, starting from the bottom and growing up in the field. That's for like trades and certain things. Ideally, what you want to do is read books. If you start reading books, all these people have done this stuff. These are professionals, these are successful people, right? Self-development, nonfiction books are the best location to get your education, to become better, to learn things. But the thing is if you're going to read, you have to be able to put that into action. You have to take something from each book, put it into action in your life. Otherwise, it's pointless. Otherwise, you're just reading to read, and that's pointless. That's why a lot of people hate reading, because those people that hate reading don't know how to put anything to action from what they've learned from that book. Podcast, again, good source for self-development. This one in particular, Real AF, the Andrew Huberman podcast. That's a really good one too. Gary Brecka, I think his podcast is called 10X Health or 10X. It might be just called Andy Brecka, but he's a good one. Bear Performance Nutrition does one. BPN. There's some other ones. They're really good. It's worth your time. Driving to work in the morning, driving home at night, taking a walk outside. There's so many times you can use podcasts. The fourth thing that's going to help you improve your first impression is meditation and visualization, which is really like the same thing to me. Go to episode 2 on my podcast to listen about how to do this. It's very easy to implement, and I actually show you how to do it in that episode 2. I'll probably do an update to that soon, because a lot of my older content I'm just not really happy with, and I think a lot of it needs to be recreated. And I know I go pretty long on these. These could be shorter, and I'll probably shorten this down. Can I use to get started? If you've never worked out before, I recommend going to my Instagram, my TikTok, or DMing me in either of those for a quick starter workouts for the gym. And I'll give you links. They're attached to the podcast description. Another good use to get started for like your fitness journey is MyFitnessPal. It's free, easy meal tracking. Google, TikTok, and Instagram for workout plans. And then the first Phorm app is an all-inclusive app. It has meal tracking, it has workout plans, it has a step tracker, community of others doing the same thing, which is huge. Uniting with other people that are doing the same thing are going to obviously, easily, and will take you to another level. There's a free advisor, checks in with you daily or weekly, let's say, because honestly, they have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that they have to handle. So it's weekly. There's checklists for daily activities. There's live streams for tips and tricks on how to implement certain nutrition, workouts, all that. And then there's First Form supplements as well. They have quite a few supplements. And yeah, guys, so the goal of this podcast was really just to get my voice back out there. And not only that, but to provide you a different level of podcast. This is going to grow. We're going to make this more streamlined, and it's just me. So I got into a suit and came on here to help you guys tonight. That's really the ultimate goal. My goal solely is to focus on what you can do daily to make your life easier physically, mentally, and spiritually. Get after it, guys.